Before we start this episode of Krypton Report, I want to take a moment and just give a shout out here to our Patreon. I know what you're thinking. Gosh, everyone's asking for money, and I get it. But our Patreon is only $1. $1 a month. It helps us keep the podcast going. And what we do is we try to find interesting shows and topics and whatever we want to talk about. We've done, as of this little thing, our last recordings were on the Scream series. Brian and Tyler, that's me, do our own show where we record in the car, and it's kind of funny. And we talk about pop culture or whatever is going on. We also have the Supernatural podcast we've been reworking. It's taken on some time just because of life. But we do movie commentaries as well. It's something that James and I have done, what we used to do on the main show that we've started doing here. So for $1 a month on our Patreon, you can get those shows. There's at least 4 a month. Also, there's my movie pitch show that I do. But also, what we want is if you're a Patreon, you can come on. You can come on the main show if you want. Or if there's something you want to come on and talk about, we can do it as a Patreon special. So all I want is for $1 a month, think about chipping in, joining our Patreon, and you have a voice to be part of things. Follow the link in the link tree or in the show notes below, patreon.com/KryptonReport.
Part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action. This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Worldwide. And you're listening to the Krypton Report.
Welcome to the Krypton Report podcast. I'm your host, Tyler, the Superman of Blue, the Man of Tomorrow, and with me is James, the Superman of Red, Man of Steel himself, the counterpart to my ever-growing awesomeness, because we have to be awesome together. What's up, man?
Okay.
I don't know. I love, like, sometimes I have it, and sometimes I lose it. I don't think I might have started to lose it there, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. Sometimes you catch me off guard.
I know. I purposely do dumb stuff, like just the same thing. Like I say dumb stuff to my wife or to Brian sometimes, and they look at me like, "Dear God, why did you say that?" Just because I just want to catch them off guard,
Right?
But hey, we got some things to pop into here this week, and let's just get on into it. Okay, so James Gunn tweeted, and quote, "I'm working on it," when someone asked about a Wonder Woman animated series.
Animated series?
Yes.
Ooh.
They said Diana has long due of having her own, and he said working on it. So that's cool. I love that he's involved in stuff. We learned that Amazon has officially picked up Batman the Caped Crusader for 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm hoping that means that they've already produced the episodes and they're just going to release them at some point, because it's been like 2 years since this was announced. Same thing with, we've heard nothing about My Adventures with Superman. Nothing.
Yeah, that one seems to just be like gone.
So that is probably going to be one of the very few, if only J.J. Abrams produced DC properties that make it out.
If they make it out alive.
The Batman tied-in series about Penguin has officially started filming in New York and places. There's been some images of Oz leaked in a little bit more of a Tony Soprano-looking outfits, as people have called it. He looks a little thinner, but, he had the big trench coat on the last one, so, but what I do find interesting is I was reading something, I didn't dive into it all the way, is between some legal crap, I'm just going to say crap because Robert Pattinson may not be able to appear as Batman in the series, but he might be able to appear as Bruce Wayne.
Huh.
Does that even...
Isn't that annoying?
Yes.
Something...
Like,
something, and he can't do it.
It has to do with like Fox and TV rights or something, and since Disney now owns Fox and that kind of stuff, so I don't know.
Oh, I'm surprised that those. I don't know. I mean,
maybe Fox produced Gotham to hold on to the rights, one of those type things, and who knows? But
it could be, and it could have been something that even if the company was sold or moved or something, the rights could remain with them. But I mean, I know that in a lot of those cases, if a company were to be sold or something like that, those original rights should revert back to its previous owner. But I mean, I'm not sure how that applies to all creative medium.
I mean, it could have been in the contract. They held on to it. We don't know. Like, we weren't privy to this. Nobody cares about us. So I just find it interesting.
Yeah, they just didn't care about us. Period. Us.
They asked me, and I was like, I don't have time for this.
They said what you say. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. I've been watching Sonic the movie too much with the kids, and Jim Carrey's like, nobody cares. So, but yeah, sad news. David F. Sandberg was not able to appear for the Hollywood premiere of Shazam! Fury of the Gods because he has COVID. We wish him the best recovery. He liked my tweet when I sent him thoughts, prayers, and positive energy.
That's dope.
I love his films. I think he seems like a really cool guy. I know he's only done 4 movies, but there's a spark and energy to that guy. That's pretty awesome. Steel is getting his own comic series, Steelworks.
Steelworks, yes, sir.
So that's one we will be reviewing. And the new book, Superman Lost. Those books will fall under, we will be reviewing them, but we're just going to do it from the app. We talked about this before. We both have Ultra. We will continue World's Finest once the app catches up with our last recorded issue that we did, because that's why we paid for the app. And with 1 month behind, it's not that big of a deal. We're going to keep up with like the big Superman books, but these other books we'll be reviewing and talking about, as they hit the app.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've really, really enjoyed reading the app and keeping up with so many books. I can only bring home so many books every week, so.
And what's crazy and kind of sucks at the same time, but it's kind of ironically funny, is a few months back I had the attack dog basically situation. They tore up a bunch of my short boxes and my comics. And for Christmas, between Christmas and my birthday, I got 3 new short boxes. So I have really awesome short boxes hanging around, but I'm filling them up slowly now that I'm not buying as many comics because of the app. So it's just kind of funny that way. Have you been watching The Flash season 9, the final run?
I watched the pilot episode.
Okay.
Or pilot episode, the first episode of the season.
So this isn't too much spoiler for you because technically we've already talked about it in our group chat. But man, they could have, but they did not do the Red Death justice. And Javicia just did not. No, they could have made it something really great. And I feel like Scott Snyder's like crying somewhere. But they wrapped it up. Like, I thought Red Death was going to extend a little bit longer. I think Red Death could have been like this overarching villain that was doing something else. I won't even go into what I pitch. Since it's only 13 episodes, like I could have pitched something similar. We'll talk about it after you see it. But
well, yeah, I mean, the idea of a Batman character, maybe not Batman, but a Batman character.
I mean, Batwoman
makes like that. Like
it makes sense for this universe since that's been kind of our Bat focal point.
Yeah.
Because if it was Bruce, there wouldn't be that connection. But being that it's a Ryan Wilder, it would have been awesome if they got what's her face to do it, Wallace Day, as the new.
Ooh, yeah, as Kate Kane.
Yeah,
that would have been even better.
But they're not that cool. And then the last little bit of news is this is kind of funny, weird. I still don't know how I feel about it. So a while back, we reported that they were doing what we thought was a Legion Scooby-Doo movie because of just some of the leaked images that we saw. But the film Scooby-Doo and Crypto 2 actually leaked online. And what's interesting is there's already been 2 other Scooby-Doo projects that were cut by Warner Brothers and were being used for tax write-offs. Now, this one was completely done, and it leaked online, and everyone said, oh, it's one of the canceled films. But I've never read anything from an official source that said it was canceled. I never saw anything from Warner Brothers that said this was one of the canceled. And I'm hoping that it does get released down the line, because here at the house, we love Scooby-Doo. We love comics in DC. Our dogs, we have 2 dogs. Their names are Scooby-Doo and Crypto. Okay? So this movie is made for the family. Yeah, so I'm really hoping that it sees the light of day and is actually released, because just the images, they went back to doing the really good animated style. So I'm like excited, because I'm like, that's awesome. But that was just weird because it really came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that name as the name that was listed, because I think it was publicly listed what the name of that movie was. Which that Scooby-Doo movie that they canceled. Yeah,
it was Scoob 2, The Holiday Haunt or something like that.
Yeah, Holiday Haunt.
And then
that
sounds
right.
And the other one was going to be a Scooby-Doo and Hex Girls movie that they had just finished all the recording and were in the process of doing the animation for when it was scrapped. But this one, I've never seen anything that actually says that this one was canceled, scrapped. So, I don't know. But that's all the news I have. You know, I usually try to keep up with everything as much as I can. I'm trying to, not talk about rumors anymore. Like, I'm done with that. Just official stuff. But we have a new comic.
Yeah, heck, at this point, the way that it's going, like anything that James Gunn says is like to be believed, because we've gone so long without hearing anything. It's like, well, if James Gunn says it, it has to be true, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's his job, And he's been great online about putting down rumors and just telling people what's truth. And I appreciate it, as someone who gets tired of hearing people talk about, oh my gosh, this is happening. No, it's not. Did James Gunn say it? Well, no, then it's not happening. It's nice. We're going to press pause and hear a few words from our other podcasts on Press Play Podcast Network.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read 1 book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, 1 book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
If you are like Tyler and James and can't get enough super talk, check out these other podcasts. Digging for Kryptonite, Supergirl Radio, The Last Sons of Krypton, the Superboy Legacy Podcast, All-Star Superfans, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Aspiring Kryptonians, Always Hold On to Smallville, The Geek of Steel, and Truth, Justice, and Hope.
Remember to check out Krypton Report on all social media platforms. Go to linktree.com/Krypton Report. You find all of our report.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
So last time, we talked about Electric Superman a little bit, and I gave a big plug for my buddy Anthony over at Digging for Kryptonite, who's doing a review series of the Electric Superman era, because it's going to tie into what's happening with Jon Kent. Now, did you read the Lazarus, what do you call it? The Lazarus Planet?
I think it was Assault on Krypton.
Yeah. Did you read it?
I did read it.
What'd you think of it?
I am kind of like, I have to go in and look at the chapter with John again, because I'm kind of like, I know he felt this. I'm not like, it didn't seem like it was like a full, like, these powers manifested, Why? How? I think that's still to come.
It basically, he's doing his John thing, gets hit by the rain from the, and then all of a
The
sudden,
Lazarus rain.
yeah, then all of a sudden at one point he starts like sparking and has an issue, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And it doesn't make sense because even the reason why Clark has the powers in the comics, how he got the electric powers, doesn't make sense either. So it was a cluster, but I won't get into that too much because we talked about it last time, and go check out Anthony's discussion. It's much, 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 much more in depth. But let's bust into it, man. We have Dawn of DC, Adventures of Superman, Jon Kent.
Written by Tom Taylor.
And I mean, it was also nice to pay $3.99 for a book again. Just want to say that.
Right.
You know, and it says Road to Injustice. And we have on the cover, you know, him ripping the shirt with the Electric Superman. And in one breath, I think the Electric Superman's cool to bring back for just to give some diversity in the super family that we have operating now.
Yeah.
But I think what?
Sorry, it just kind of struck me while we were talking diversity, the different super characters. Steel is getting a book called Steelworks, but Superboy is actually getting his own book, Superboy: The Man of Tomorrow.
I know. I'm looking forward to that'll be another one that's on our list to talk about and discuss via the app.
Sorry, that's just something that struck me. I was like, oh yeah, that's coming out.
And I do feel that Connor...
My bad for interrupting.
Nah, please. We've been doing this for so many years, dude. And it's also harder when you're recording like this than being face-to-face. Because sometimes you have a little bit of a lag or whatever, and it causes issues, so whatever. My thought was just like, it would be more interesting for, I think, Connor to be the one to get the electrical powers, since technically his DNA was tampered with. And, you know, kind of start to give him his own identity more. But it was just a thought. But yeah, let's talk about this book.
Yes, sir.
Take us there, Skitch.
So Countdown to Injustice Chapter 1 into the Multiverse. We have Superman. We see the city's in ruins, and we reveal Superman is pretty beat up. Turn the page, and it's Ultraman. Ultraman is attacking Superman, beating him up, and he says, "Say your last word, Lois." There it is. It's always the same. And he incinerates him with his heat vision. Like, it was pretty wicked. Like, all that's left is a shard of cape. There's always a shard of cape left, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Earth Zero now. Jon Kent is enjoying being able to walk around Metropolis without all eyes on him, because his secret identity has been restored.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Nakamura, not so lucky. He's hiding in a hat and glasses and a hood and a scarf. He kind of looks like Kenny.
I thought the same thing. You know, and there's like Jay Nakamura is, well, how's he put it? I can live with everyone knowing Jay Nakamura is Superman's boyfriend. And then he says, "Hey, look," and you know, Supergirl, Superboy, and my dad are all off world, and he says, "It's okay. There's no one around. This is clearly a job for you."
I like that he's in contact with Oracle. Call the Titans. Oh, excuse me. His suit is not the same suit that he was wearing in action with like the jacket and stuff. It's definitely more like what he was wearing when he was Superman, minus the cape.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly the same, but very similar.
I actually like this look, and you notice how his S crest is already the electric style, just without being the electric.
Right. I do like it. I do like John without the cape. I appreciate the look. It's different, you know. He wears a Superman suit, but without the cape. He sees that satellites are falling. Satellites are being hurtled towards Earth. He's out there trying to stop it. He's coordinating with Oracle to have Titans cover different areas, North and South America. He's heading to Africa. Talks about seeing them come down in different places. But he starts, something's happening. It's like the world has stopped and there's a change inside of me. I felt this building before, felt this power. This is where it says, check out Lazarus Planet assault on Krypton. So I don't know what happens next, but I'm not afraid. And it says, can you hear me, Jon Kent? I can hear you. How? It doesn't matter. Just know that I'm coming. It says, Superman satellites are falling over Asia. Satellites falling over Asia are just disappearing. The power has faded. He's flying around. He sees he's in Portugal. He leaves Africa. He's heading to Europe, stopping these satellites. He sees one that is heading towards Germany. This is one last threat, and he goes to stop it, and he is just a split second too late because Val-Zod shows up and stops. So Val-Zod was giving a hand taking down satellites around the world.
Which is awesome because it's a new way of using this alternate Superman character when we've already brought in every possible super character there is. So why not bring in alternate Earth 2 Val-Zod as well? You know?
Yeah.
Just throw him in with the super family. We're already trying to bring in Power Girl. So, let's just make a whole, 10-person, 12-person team of super powered people that are going around. It'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not love having so many Superman, Superwomen fighting side by side against cosmic threats? It'd be amazing. And Tom Taylor helped create Val-Zod back in Earth 2 in the New 52. I read Earth 2. I read the second series, and I started my way in the third series, but I hadn't completed it.
He's a character that definitely needs more and needs fleshed out, and his story and everything. Because even Jonathan, when he meets him, says, "John, it's good to meet you. I'm Superman. My name is Val-Zod." He says, "Zod." He says, "Of course that's going to be of course. Oh yeah, of course. That's going to be a problem for you." And he says, "We're attracting some attention. Maybe we should take this to the sky." And basically, he says, "Thank you for talking to me instead of jumping to conclusions and lashing out." And then he says, "There's people here who can basically vouch for me why I'm here." And then it's Mr. Terrific. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really good. Mr. Terrific spent time on Earth 2 in that book. So I like that he vouches for him. I like that they're just like, yeah, like Zod, let's get past the name. Like, I'm a different person from a different world. And it does have a credit. It does have an editor's note, as seen in the now classic series Earth 2, Earth 2 World's End, and Earth 2 Society.
See, I read more. I got at good old Ollie's. I got the Earth 2 Society book. And I read that, and that was interesting.
Earth 2 Society is actually like the third book, so it's like, where are they after everything that had happened? Earth 2 was really good. I really enjoyed it. Earth 2 World's End was very interesting. It was kind of cool watching Darkseid fight the war, taking that Earth. It was very interesting. And then Earth 2 Society I began, but I did not finish that series.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to see how Tom Taylor is being able to utilize so many things that he helped create here. We've got Val-Zod. Val-Zod and Red Tornado are together, talking with John, Lois, and Mr. Terrific. They are there to warn them that Superman is in danger, that Kal-Els across the universe, the multiverse, are being murdered by a twisted Kryptonian called Ultraman. Jon Kent knows him because he kept him prisoner, stole that. He kept me trapped for a very long time. He stole years that my parents and I should have spent together. He stole my childhood.
And then we have Lois arguing with Red Tornado.
Yes, and she says, "Who are you?" Red Tornado from Earth 2 is, "I'm Lois Lane."
And it ends with Jon Kent, "Please, I need you to step into the multiverse and face your monster." I think it's a pretty cool setup for a story. The fact that John's going to defend and protect his father. That, they say that Ultraman has the device that for some reason is crippling Kal-Els and allowing Ultraman to get the upper hand. And that's why he's able to kill them and defeat them so easily. So having John and Val-Zod together, because I think it's been cool to just have them together in a book, man. And
yeah, well, it's really interesting because in Earth 2, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman die saving the world from Darkseid.
Yep.
The first time, and so those three are dead. So Earth 2 is actually being saved by like the Justice Society characters, Jay Garrick, Alan Scott, a bunch of others. It's been a while since I read it, but yeah, I like Lois here, or rather Red Tornado here, saying the grief of that. He will kill your husband. The grief of that will almost destroy you. Trust me. Just as I wasn't always this, I lost my life, and I lost my Kal-El. I lost my Clark. So it was an interesting read, and it's really awesome to see that carried over.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see. But what else we got for this episode for everybody here is we're going to dig back into Legion. We are on to season 2. We got 2 episodes that we watched. And we watched season 2, episode 3, which was titled Cry Wolf, which aired October 6th, 2007. Gosh, that seems so long. And gets a 7.4. Now, the summary of this episode is, when it appears that Timberwolf viciously attacked his own father, the Legion tried to catch him, while Chameleon Boy and Phantom Girl worked to clear his name. So what did you think of this episode, James?
I enjoyed it, the kind of clandestine stuff, the inner monologue of Timberwolf.
That was cool. Like the little bit of like personal noir narration he had going on.
Absolutely, yeah. I liked him being controlled the way he was, manipulated. It was pretty twisted how his dad did everything, set him up to make him look guilty, to think that he would join him after all of that. Just how twisted his father is.
We get...
we haven't seen him since pretty early on in the first season.
We get Timberwolf's real name, which I can't remember how to pronounce it. Bryn. Okay. And, you said we have the inner monologue, and we have a couple scenes where he's being chased by the Legion, the head Legionnaires like Lightning Lad and Bouncing Boy. And
Sunboy. Sunboy was there.
Yes. Sadly, I didn't get to watch this with Solomon because...
You better rewatch it with him.
So I am going to rewatch it with him because he's enjoyed watching it with me. And I had to wait till the last possible minute. And he went and did some cool adventure stuff with my sister-in-law. So I watched him, but I'm going to rewatch him with him to do the next episodes. So
yeah, he'll freak out. He'll love it.
Our ongoing thing is our love for Sunboy.
Right.
And this episode did not feature Superman, and I'm okay with that. I actually found the story of just Timberwolf in general really, really good. We have...
Yeah, not prominently.
where they kidnap, they think they catch Timberwolf again, but it's Chameleon Boy. And we see Phantom Girl helping out. And, what do you call it? We have, more of like Timberwolf's origin as he finds what his father planned to do with him, really bringing out more of the wolf side. He's like, I wouldn't say hulking out, but like he's growing big, and more animalistic.
Kind of like what Beast Boy's Build-A-Figure looks like.
Oh my, yes.
Like that version of him. Like,
thanks, McFarlane. And at the end, he goes back to his home planet to find like we said, his father faked his own death, pinned it on him, and has a bunch of other quote unquote sons that he's working on. And the Legion shows up, and of course there's a huge battle, and Timberwolf is able to calm down, and they realize that what has occurred. So it was a really good episode.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Both of the episodes we watched, and we'll get into the next one here, are almost self-contained and deal with secondary characters, and I'm okay with that. So the next episode was called Chained Lightning. It season 2, episode 4, aired October 13th, 2007, has a 7.6 rating, and it says the Legion fights against Imperiex and his new ally, Lightning Lord. That's really the description they give us, and yeah, it's true, but at the same time, there's so much more to this episode.
Oh, there's a lot more to this episode. I mean, we get...
This may be my favorite episode of the series so far.
Oh, yeah?
I feel like I was invested a lot in this episode because I feel like even though there's like no Superman in it at all, I felt the emotional core of this episode really pulled me in.
Yeah, it hooks you early on. The history of Mecht and Garth and their sister Ayla.
Yep.
They were out doing something seems like they shouldn't have been doing, and they were stranded kind of on a planet where they were attacked by some electrical type beasts, and it actually gave Lightning Lord and Lightning Lad their powers, but it appeared to have killed Ayla. And then they are having nightmares of their sister. While they are fighting on opposite sides, Mecht is aligned with Imperiex because he will quote unquote win. So like it's easy for him to join the winning team. But it's a very touching episode. They're trying to dissipate an electrical storm building in space, a storm that is so powerful that it could start this this doomsday weapon ship that this Dominators, maybe?
Yep, it's the Dominators he's working with.
Yeah, that they made but had no way to power before this storm came into existence.
And you find out that Ayla basically is the storm. She dispersed into just being pure energy, where Lightning Lad and Lightning Lord took on the energy power. She became energy. And during this battle, like Lightning Lad loses his arm and has to get a mechanical one. And we have a great scene of Brainy working with Shrinking Girl, something like I can't remember what her name was.
Yeah, he called her Vi, I think.
Yeah, we met her in a previous episode where we met Furo Lad and Stone Boy. Another great one.
Okay. Yeah. Why? So that was a while back. That was first season.
Yeah, it's where she got introduced in that episode.
So, yeah, all the characters are larger and older. So, like, her character design changed a smidge.
It's interesting because we get the line of dialogue about it had been 10 years at this point since Lightning Lad and Lord got their powers. But we find out that the lightning storm is Ayla, and if they continue to power their ship, it will completely destroy her. And together, Lightning Lord and Lad basically are able to bring Ayla back. And she comes back as the age in which she was when the whole thing happened. So she's still a child. And it was great because at the end, Mech turns himself in. says, I'm tired of running. And, Lightning Garth brings home his sister to their parents, which we never see. But there's a picture that Mech left of the three of them. And of course, in the
same
comics,
one he's looking at while in prison.
yes, in the comics, she becomes Lightning Lass. So
nice.
We'll see if that comes to fruition.
Yeah, probably not in this season. Maybe not in this season.
Well, if it's not in this season, then never at all.
Yeah, exactly. You have to go to the comics for that.
So I'm listening to Imperiex. Did you know who did Imperiex's voice?
He sounds familiar.
It's Phil Morris.
Really?
Because I'm sitting there listening. I'm like, I know this voice. And I looked it up, and I was like, I am an idiot for not knowing this voice right off the bat. But yeah, it was Phil Morris.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, I know who that is, but no, I did not know it was Phil Morris. It did not click.
Huh, but yeah, it was, like I said, you could probably watch this episode almost in a bottle, not needing to have watched the other stuff. And
yeah, but a little bit of the lightning, the Garth versus Mech stuff that you get in season 1 kind of just gives you a little build up to their contentiousness in this. So it's a little more when they come together because, their sister isn't dead.
Yep. Absolutely.
So it means a little more. That's about it there.
And like I said, that's a great episode. But that's all we got this week.
Yeah, it was actually 2 really good episodes of Legion.
2 great episodes that really didn't, tie into Superman, and that's okay. But that's all we have right now. We know there's a lot more on the way coming.
Right. So, speaking of, we did get a little Superman in each episode, but Superman is a background character, at least for these 2 episodes. And he's he's cantankerous, but he's also like learning to be less so.
Mm-hmm.
But so he's not this angry character we were introduced to, but he's definitely not Superman. And he's not at the forefront of the show, at least for these 2 episodes.
Which I think is fascinating. It's making it more of a Legion show, which is nice. Instead of just being straight up like Superman. Like, it's supposed to be Superman, the Legion of Heroes. So we need some of the Legion of Heroes.
Well, yeah, because he's not Kal-El. He's a clone from the 41st century. He's a very different person. He's not the Superman that inspired the Legion to be who they are, to do what they do. So it's interesting to see him kind of learn to be this character, to learn from the Legion and do what they do and do what Superman did.
But I look forward to the rest of this season. And, I wanted, like in my original plan, we have Superman and Lois coming back here soon. And then my original plan was to have this done before that came back. But it's okay. We'll do what we got to do, and we'll get through it all together. Because, we own this on Blu-ray. They can't take that away from us compared to when they dropped it from streaming. The longest break we've ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, the longest break in coverage of something, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. But all right, that's it for this week. We're pretty tired. It's been a long time. We've had a lot of snow we've had to fight through here while I'm on my spring break, which is amazing. Thanks a lot, school.
Thanks a lot, Mother Gaia.
But from James and I here at Krypton Report, thank you. Check us out. Send us your feedback. Check out our Patreon. Our Patreon did release a free episode to listen to, just to kind of get an idea of some of the things we do. We're always working on improving it. And remember,
Look up in the sky.
We just want to say if you've enjoyed this podcast, please check out other podcasts on the Press Play Podcast Network. Information $1 a month, you'll get extra special content that you don't get on the main show, like movie commentaries and whatever else comes out of our mouths. So check it out, patreon.com/Krypton.